Alright, I installed one of these timer switches from Honeywell, and this one is a nice little display, and it kind of fits rather nicely on the panel. Now, this particular brand and model is nothing new. I think this one's been around for like 10 years, but it's one of those that it's convenient. I want to be able to put my driveway lights on a timer, and so we're going to do a quick install. Seems pretty easy. One of the first things you're going to do is remove that cover plate, and once you take out the screws, you get to see what you're working with. And then what you want to do here is you want to kind of look, see where the wires are, and you want to get a voltage meter, and you want to check for power, so you know which line is the power line, which line is hot. You basically have three wires that you're going to connect. You got the line wire, which is the hot wire, and then you've got a neutral wire, which is the white wire, and then on the switch it's a blue wire, and that goes to your load, which is the light itself. So just check and find out which wires are hot, and we're going to be replacing the switch on the very left. Now this one here, it's wired a little bit differently. It's got like two hot wires that are connected, and it kind of piggybacks to the third one. It's a little bit different, but luckily we're only going to replace it. We're going to replace the third one, and it's rather simple and straightforward. And so after you do that, you want to go to the breaker. When you identify the line wire, the hot, you want to go to the breaker and you want to shut it off. So make sure you go to the breaker, shut off the power, and then once you shut off the power, double check just in case. Just in case. Because that's what I did. I double checked, and it turned out it was still hot. So they mislabeled the circuit panel, so I had to go back and flip the right one. And when it comes to electrical stuff, just take your time and check and double check and recheck. You don't want to get electrocuted. So once we got all that turned off and situated, I went ahead and removed that switch. You remove the two screws, and then you pull it out, and then you get a Phillips-head screwdriver, and you just disconnect the wires. Now with this install, with this switch, you need a neutral. That's that bundle of white wires, and it tells you that you need that. If you don't have neutral wires, you're not going to be able to install it. So we got the line wire, that's a jumper from that switch, and then we've got our neutral, and then we also have our load, which goes to the light, and then it's just a matter of hooking it up, putting the wire nuts on it. It does include 3 wire nuts, but the one that's on the bundle of white wires, the neutral, just reuse that one because that one's bigger, and then you have one spare left. You just use the wire nut to connect the blue wire and then your load. So it's not too hard. Now these wires are a little bit stiff, so you're gonna have to muscle it a little bit, get everything fit in there. And one of the things I did with the ground wires is I just kind of twirled it up and stuck it back in the box. The directions are a little vague. They're not absolutely clear. It does show a diagram with a ground wire, but there's nowhere to attach it to. There's nowhere on the switch that says ground wire. So I just tucked it back into the box. And you always want to check different resources to find out. I mean, I went and looked at a bunch of videos to see how people install this. I'm not an electrician. This is just the way I installed it. This is what I did. This is not a step-by-step exact how to install, because your situation might be different. You may not even have 3 switches. You may be only replacing one. There was a little bit of a concern whether to get a single, I believe, what was it, a single pole or a 3-way. Now, it's rather interesting because, a guy at Home Depot was telling me that I need a 3-way because I have 3 switches. But when you look up information about a 3-way is for when you have 2 different switches controlling the same light, like say a hallway light, or a stair light, where you flip it on downstairs and you go upstairs and you flip it off, or hallway, you go from one end of the hallway to the other and you flip it off. That's what I gathered when I looked up the information, but the guy at Home Depot swore I need a 3-way. As far as I can tell, this particular model is not a 3-way. They do offer a switch that's like this, that can be run as a single pole or a 3-way. And that one costs a bit more. That one came in about $58. This particular one came in about $38. You can buy others that look exactly like it, and it may be the exact same thing. I saw this other one, it was for like $20. I almost pulled the trigger on that one and was going to decide that because of the price, but once I read the reviews, one of the things that everybody mentioned was that it didn't last and there were issues with it. So I was like, okay, I'll just go with this name brand that has good reviews. So once you get those wires connected, you tidy everything up, put everything back. One of the issues that I had was that this blue electrical box there, it was loose. It wasn't sturdy, so I had to kind of play around with it and get these switches back on while pulling and holding that electrical box at the same time. But overall, it was pretty simple to do. You only have 3 wires to hook up, and then once I got it all hooked up, make sure that your wires are tight, nice and snug, because when you're jamming everything back in there, you're moving it around quite a bit, so it does have to be pretty snug, pretty firm. So once you have everything all lined up, another thing is the switches. I kind of had to move them a little bit so the plate would fit over it flush, and so you kind of have to play with it and wiggle it, all 3 of them, to get them to properly light up and fit in the holes. And then you're going to go and you're going to flip the breaker back on. Right here I'm just peeling off that top sticker. And then once you got the breaker back on, and then it's going to power on, and boom, there it is, And then once you get into that, you can set it. Some of it is self-explanatory. Some of it you have to look up in the instructions to figure out what exactly it is. There seems to be 3 modes. One is manual, where you can just turn the light on and off yourself. The other one is where you set the time, exact time of when you want it to come on, when you want to turn off. And then the third one is a random mode, where the light apparently just turns on the light at random, and I guess turns it off at random. And then you have the sunset sunrise feature that you can also use if you want the lights to come on at sunset and then turn off at sunrise. You can do that. I just need it for a specific time, just to deter. We got a couple of irresponsible dog walkers that, for some reason, like to, bring their dogs to urinate and defecate, and then they don't pick up, the dog poo. That's really irritating. Nobody wants urine and feces in front of their house. Nobody wants that. But these people, why are they walking over here to relieve their dog? Is because they don't want it near their house. And then they try to play, be coy about it and say, "Oh, it's a dog." Well, you're supposed to curb your dog. And I don't know why this county doesn't have ordinances against that. It's a hazard. And yeah, but hopefully it'll deter them, and certainly will help getting them on security cam. Things are a little wonky, but if they keep doing it, because they've been doing it on a daily basis, you can imagine it's not just one dog, right? It's like 2 or 3 dogs, and you're talking about twice a day where the dogs pee and poop. You can imagine the mess that they're leaving, and it's hard to catch this individual because they vary their time, and they also do it at night, so they don't have to pick it up because they're in the cover of darkness. Rather irresponsible and nefarious, but hopefully we can solve that problem with them. They're definitely inconsiderate, definitely irresponsible. But they don't even live on this street either. They come from another street. What a bunch of a-holes, right? But this screen here, this switch, timer switch, relatively easy to install. Just take your time. Be careful. You're dealing with electricity. Check and double check. Make sure when you go to turn the breaker off that you've got the right one. Double check to make sure that there's no power going to it. This is what I did for my situation. I am not an electrician. I'm just showing you what I did and how I installed it. This is not a step-by-step exact how-to video because your circumstances, your application is going to differ from mine. Your setup may be different. Maybe you're only replacing one switch. Who knows? But you're going to have to do your research. This is just information. It's not really a direct how-to. Now, this was pretty easy to do. One thing I will mention is that when I was removing that old switch, again, this is it's going to differ. But whoever installed it didn't run the wires around the screws on the sides. They put it in the back. And in order to release that, you're going to need like a certain tool. It's going to be thin. I had a hard time finding something to jam in there to release the wire. So be prepared for that, just in case. That's why when you take the plate off, you kind of look and go, okay, it's attached to the side. Oh, if it's attached to the back, there's going to have to be some release mechanism that you're going to have to, push or fiddle around with. So that was the only hiccup. I took my time. It didn't take very long. It is, somewhat if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you're a little bit intimidated when it comes to electrical stuff, you're not alone because a lot of people are afraid of that, because it's like electrical wires and you got to wire things a certain way. Otherwise, you can create a big problem. But this one was rather straightforward because you only have to do 3 wires, and they do give you 3 wire nuts to use. As far as the neutral, you definitely have to have that, and I would just use the big one that's on there because it's meant for that. But overall, it was pretty easy to do. Take your time. It didn't take long at all. I mean, I took my time, and I think I had this whole thing done in about half an hour, and that was me really taking my time. The biggest thing that sucked up the time and made my install a little bit difficult was the electrical box, the blue box that it was in. It wasn't properly installed, so it was just kind of moving around, and it was hard for me to screw in the switches because the box just kept on recessing further into the wall, and I had to pull it out and try and hold it. That took up more time than actually installing the switch. So that's why it took me about half an hour. It's not too bad, and it's pretty simple to do. And then once you have it installed, hey, got a nice little switch here, and we'll do an update if anything goes wrong with it. Maybe it's maybe it stops working or develops a short, or who knows. But if there's anything wrong with it, I'll update it. For the most part, though, this is another item that you can find on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it at any hardware store, but it's a pretty good product, has a high rating. The majority of the reviews are good. I just purchased it, and so far it's pretty good. And be careful of some of the cheaper ones. I almost fell for it. I almost was going to buy this other one that it looks exactly like it, but it's not a name brand. You dig deep into the reviews, and a lot of people were complaining that it just stopped working after a week or two and whatnot. So this one here, all the reviews were pretty good. Some of them you can tell that they may have wired it wrong. Who knows? But just take your time and make sure you have the proper one. And it's easy to do. Don't be intimidated.